record. There we go. Okay, let me just get some slides. All right, so here we go. Everybody, good evening and welcome, or good morning, depending on which part of the world you're coming from. There are still people coming into the room, so do excuse me if I suddenly stop speaking. It's because I have to let them into the room. Great to see you guys here. Well, today's session, I should introduce myself. My name is Ross. For those of you who are new to the Celsius Malaysia community, my name is Ross. I'm a Celsius ambassador. And because I'm an ambassador, I was looking for ways that we can connect with Celsius better, especially our whole community, because we're so excited to be using Celsius. And I reached out to Vijay and Alex, and I emailed them, and Alex said, why don't you get Vijay to come and talk? And then Vijay brought him his friend, John and Zach as well. And so I thought, what a wonderful session. We can have a great discussion together and find out more about Celsius. And my community, the Malaysian community, we were so excited as well. We were looking at a lot of questions that the people that everybody had. All right, so all of you who are joining in, we want to welcome our guests. We've got Zach, we've got John, and we've got Vijay, all from Celsius, and it's great to have you guys with us. We really appreciate your time. All the users were basically submitting a lot of questions in. So they were, I actually listed down some of the questions as well. But before we go into the questions, maybe if you guys could just give us a brief introduction about yourselves. Maybe we'll start with Zach. Zach, could you just introduce yourself very briefly to our Malaysian Celsians?
Sure. Yeah. Hey, everybody. I'm happy to be here. Thank you, Ross, so much for putting this together. It's ambassadors like yourself that help our community grow and help educate new users, and are like the lifeblood of this company. So thank you so much for your work. And my name is Zach Wilds. I live on the West Coast of the US. I got involved with Celsius the end of 2018 and have been working on the community management side, social and events, and ambassadors since February 2020.
All right, thanks, Zach. Can we move on to John? John, could you introduce yourself, please?
Hi guys, I'm John. I'm from Philippines. So I started at Celsius since 2017. And like you guys, I'm proud Celsius been using Celsius since the start, and majority of my crypto assets are on Celsius.
All right, John, are there any Malaysians in the Celsius office?
I think there's no.
There's not yet, okay. Because I applied,
Yeah.
but I don't know if I'll get it, but we'll see. But it's great to see you there, John. Thank you so much. And Vijay, last but not the least, could you just give us a short introduction?
Yeah, Vijay Kunduru. I am calling in from Chicago in the Midwest of the US today. I have been at Celsius for 2 months and a week. And honestly, it feels like I've been here for like my entire career because everything else until now seems meaningless. So I've been on the other side for the majority of my career, the big banks, trying to get people into debt, trying to get people to not know that banks are not paying them the highest yields, etc. And so I got to the stage in my career like a couple of years ago where I was like, you know what, I just need to go do more purpose-driven stuff. Right? Like Alex says, like do good and then do well. Whereas I think like in banking, especially in the US, and I'm pretty sure it's similar in Asia Pacific as well, bankers try to do well for themselves. They only do good for optics, right? It's not really because they believe in it or they think that that's the reason for their brand's existence. They do it only to cover up the fact that they have predatory interest rates or poor customer servicing, etc. So I've been kind of dabbling in a couple of startups for the last 2 years. And then when Celsius came up on my radar, it seemed like the perfect blend of, like I said, doing good first, but then also a really strong business, right? This was like a rocket ship that was already taking off. And if I had to continue with the rocket ship analogy, it was kind of getting close to breaking past the Earth's gravity on its way to Mars. And I just thought, you know what, I'm going to jump in and take the ride with the company and the amazing community that we have globally.
Okay, great. Thanks, Vijay. Appreciate that insight. Yeah. So for a real career switch from the other side to this side and doing well and all that. So that's great. Thank you guys so much for introducing yourselves. Really appreciate it. And so I also wanted to get you guys to listen to what our Malaysian users say. So let's do a live survey. So how I'm going to do this, I'm going to go to a website. I'm going to go to a website called Mentimeter. It's really easy to use. And I'm going to give you guys a link. Okay, just give me 1 second to get the website ready. And this is like an online survey site. So we're going to get a survey going on, and I'm going to put the survey link inside our group chat. Okay. So all of you Malaysians on Zoom, just click on that group chat, click on the group chat link, right? There's a link there, and I'm going to show you guys the survey. Okay. It looks like that. Aha, there we go. All right. So you see the survey link over there. The question is, what do you love about Celsius? So keep your answers short to like a 1-word, 2-word answer, and everybody just share. What do you love about Celsius? What do you love about Celsius, right? So all the Malaysians, come on, let's share. And we can allow our guest speakers today to get some like live feedback, right, from our Malaysian community. What do you love about Celsius? You can either go to the link in the chat, or you can go to menti.com and type in the code 20493402. Okay?
Hey, Ross, if I could ask you a question.
Sure, yeah.
How did you come across Celsius? And I remember your ambassador video was fantastic.
Oh, right,
so thank you for making that. But how did you come across Celsius, and what brought you here today to be an ambassador?
Sure. I'll introduce myself while the answers are coming in. So I was introduced to Celsius by my friend Aaron. Aaron, I don't think he's in the chat today, but he's one of our good leaders inside Celsius as well. He introduced it to me because I told him one day, hey, Aaron, I need to sell my Bitcoin to make some profit. And he said, why do you want to sell your Bitcoin? Why don't you take a loan instead? And then I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. It's like, don't have to sell my Bitcoin. That's great. And then he introduced me to Celsius, and I slowly learned about it. And I realized that, unlike many of the projects out there, there's a solid team behind it. And that's really what I loved so much about Celsius. When I understood Alex's own story about where he came from and how he looks at the world and the VOIP that he created, and how he wants to now go MOIP and stuff like that. And I really love the vision of the company. And that's what made me decide that, you know what, I'm going to sign up as an ambassador. And just one thing led to another, and then just connected with a lot of other people and connected with you guys now, and grew the community. So the community has been growing every week. We, have a few new members joining here and there. And usually on Friday nights, so for those of you who are in the group chat, usually on Friday nights, I have an introduction session for new Celsius users in Malaysia. Today's session is a little bit special because we've got some guest speakers as well. But generally, I just go through like the basic functions of Celsius. How does it work? What's the history of the company? And I explain to new users how they can get started. And I guide them through depositing and stuff like that. So that's how I got started. A friend introduced me to it. I fell in love with Celsius, and now I introduce it to others. And I'm falling in love with Celsius even more because the price keeps going up and up and up. And so all of us are really happy. Yeah.
And, fantastic. Is that Aaron from the Telegram chat, Zine?
Sorry, say again?
Is that Aaron from the Telegram chat with his screen name Zine?
Oh, okay. I don't know what his screen name in Telegram is, but he's one of our big OTC purchasers. If you know Aaron from the OTC side, yeah. So he does a lot of our OTC purchases, and he helps us with that. But yeah. I'm pretty sure you've seen him in some of your other Zoom chats. He's been around. Let's see. Okay, I see some great answers coming up. So let's look at some of the answers. You guys from Celsius as well, you can see what our users love the most. Yield, Moon, unbanking yourself, loving the loan, weekly interest, happier Mondays. Yes, I agree. Honestly, when I joined Celsius, Monday blues was a real thing. But then every Monday evening, we get our interest paid in. So that's always something to look forward to. Alex Mashinsky. Its growth is fantastic. Yeah. For the recent 1 week, the growth has been amazing. For the past 3 months, the growth has been really testing our patience. And one of the reasons why I actually reached out to Celsius to have this community chat is because I was telling Alex, hey, Alex, could you come in and maybe encourage the community and give us some inside information so that we can, really push guys to, recruit more people, because we love the team. But, for the past 3 or 4 months, the price has been kind of just fluctuating a little bit. But now it's been really growing. So that's great. Some people really like the growth. They're transparent. Weekly AMAs has been really good. So we love following the weekly AMAs. Unfortunately, the AMAs at Malaysian timing is at 2 in the morning. But some of our members who sleep late like me, we often stay up just to watch. And so yeah, thanks for sharing, guys. We really appreciate your opinions. I'm going to go back to my slides and let's do some quick Q&A. I've got some questions that the community had for some of our Celsius guests today. So either Vijay, John, or Zach, whoever wants to answer, you can feel free to answer. Let me just get the questions on screen. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so questions. Let's see. Question number 1. Okay, does Celsius plan to open an office in Asia? Right, I think a lot of people are excited about. In fact, I actually applied to work at Celsius. I didn't get the job yet. I mean, I'm not sure if they'll call me back in a few weeks from now, but who knows? I don't know who would be able to give us an insight to this. Vijay, Zach, John, do you think that Celsius will be having an Asian office soon, based in Asia, maybe Malaysia, quote unquote?
Yeah, I can take that. So clearly, we are kind of expanding our corporate footprint, right? Our customer footprint is already pretty large, and we're still trying to open up the app and the platform to certain countries where people still can't participate. And as our penetration in other markets grow, right? Like, we are a UK-based company. The CEO is in New York. We have the Israel office with probably the most number of employees in one place right now. We are opening up an office in Australia. And we have been discussing about opening an office in Asia as well. Because clearly, if you were to think about our brand purpose, right, which is bring these privileges and benefits to the larger portion of the populations that actually don't have access to these privileges, right? Like, I've heard a saying it's expensive to be poor. If you were to think about consumers that banks don't really cater to, like, a large bulk of those populations do live in Asia. And I think as we begin to increase our efforts and penetration there, we're definitely going to be opening up office locations. As far as whether it's Malaysia or not, I think, again, that's up to the community and up to our recruiting success and hiring success, etc. So yeah, I think more to come there. And on the Asia consumer penetration itself and promoting our brand awareness, so more people know about the brand, more people know about our mission, more people know about the benefits. Like John, for example, just proposed a simple kind of first step for us to do a lot more marketing that's catered to the Asian consumer. And you're going to see us start to do that in the next couple of months.
Okay, sounds exciting. Actually, John, I was just wondering, since you're from the Philippines, are you currently working in the Philippines remotely for Celsius, or have you moved to the US?
Yep, I'm currently working remotely since 2017.
Wow. Okay, great. Cool. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Celsius is a very remote company because everybody's scattered around the whole globe. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually fortunate because during that time, there's no... the hiring process a lot of quicker because the founders just want to launch the initial planning for the ICO. So
right. Wow. So you really joined like really early 2017.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
Yeah. I applied from Angel List. So then right from that, I helped jumpstart the initial stuff of marketing, like the website and other stuff. So social media.
Wow, you got to see it grow all the way.
From that, Alex started joining a lot of conference to promote the plans for ICO.
Wow, that's fantastic. You got to see it grow so much over the years. All right, next question. Let's see. What do we have? how is the team managing the project timeline? So we had this question come up in our group chats because some of the users were saying that, Alex often in the AMAs says that, we've got an in-app swap coming up, we've got the web-based app coming up and stuff like that, but it hasn't been delivered. So a lot of our users sometimes get a little bit frustrated with this. So they were wondering, how does the Celsius team manage the whole project timeline? How do they make sure the deliverables, actually come to place?
Yeah, so I think when it comes to delivering on new products and features, clearly Nuke, our incredible chief technology officer, manages that pipeline, right? But the prioritization itself is very much driven by the community, by like the executive committee at Celsius as well, to determine, well, what is the cadence, right? What's the next feature that the community really needs? Because if you think about it, need is very different from want, right? Like I want a Mercedes car, but I really only need a Toyota. Right. So like
okay.
that's a big balancing act that the company has to keep maintaining as well. And then the best analogy that I can give you guys is the features and products that we're talking about have to do with people's savings, have to do with people's financial well-being, right? If you were to think even just in another industry, I don't know how much of you guys are video gamers, but you all know about Cyberpunk that launched earlier in the year. 10 years of game development, many, many delays, and then they were pushed by the fans to release the game earlier than everyone at the company was comfortable doing, right? They launched it. They had Keanu Reeves as like one of the stars in the video game. That was the first time he was doing it.
Yeah.
And that launch cost the company billions of dollars and led to really, really angry fans of the game because there were so many glitches and there were so many bugs and right, like
exactly. Yeah.
Seen things floating around in the game. Now, if you can think about the pain and outrage that a game which costs $60 caused, now think about our platform and our product, right? If Nuke and his team are just rushing to deliver features when they're still working out some security bugs or functionality bugs, etc., that's actually going to cause more pain to the community than a few extra weeks of delay. And I'm actually proud to work for a company that's brave enough to say, you know what, we're not ready yet. We will deliver it to you, but we're going to deliver it to you when we're comfortable that it's only going to have minor bugs. It's not going to have like security gateway holes or things like that, right? That's the philosophy I think that Nuke takes. That's the philosophy that we've all bought into, because we'd much rather be safe and deliver close to the best functionality than just rush to deliver something.
Yeah, rather than just rush the job and then everybody starts complaining about it, right? Oh, I think that's a fantastic example you brought up about the Cyberpunk game, because it's true. I saw all my friends complaining about it, and it was supposed to be an amazing game. And so for those other Malaysians listening, so please tell your other friends also, the reason why sometimes things get delayed is not on purpose. It's because, I agree. I think Celsius wants to make sure that we get the best experience. And so far, although
even though we are in the finance space, we are in the crypto industry where security and trust is such a big factor, right? So like I've been a part of banks, Fortune 30 banks, right? The biggest bank in the world even, where they've rushed to deliver like a mobile app, right? Or whatever. And they're like, you know what? It doesn't matter that the login here is entirely different from the login to the web app, or the login to get into like your insurance product versus this login for a checking account. But the extra 1 month to push for single sign-on in that example would have been way better for customers.
Yeah.
Right. So just launching stuff to get PR, to get news is not something that we try to do.
Yeah.
Right. We always And in my 2 months here, I've been astounded by how much we talk about this is what the community needs to better manage their financial lives with us. And this is how we're going to deliver it, right? And I can tell you that, like Nuke and team, see, Zach and John and I work long hours, but it's nothing compared to what Nuke and his team like have as far as schedules.
Yeah, yeah. No, I completely understand. It's just that from the customer perspective, I know why people are getting more and more impatient. The main reason being probably because as the world of cryptocurrency and DeFi and everything is just, everything's a rush. Every day is like 10 new projects are coming up and it's all a big competition and there's so many new features on different platforms coming up, and then there's Celsius and everybody's like, come on, Celsius, come on. Yeah.
If you were to look at our competitors, right, who
Yeah.
have 4 times the size in terms of employees, have
Exactly,
hundreds
yeah.
of millions of dollars in investor funding, etc.,
Mm-hmm.
they're still only doing wait lists
Yeah.
for credit card or things like that, right? So they're not actually launching products or features like credit cards, etc., which are a big add-on to the current platforms. So I think, see, Alex kind of commits to the community through the AMA and other interactions that we're going to be launching these features.
Yeah.
And then he pushes the team to launch the features. And we all try to do the best that we can.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, and really thank you for taking the time to explain it as well. I hope all the community members who are listening will also, take it to heart as well, that, Celsius wants the best for us, and definitely got to be patient. Patience pays off. I always believe that, and so far it has been paying off really well, and we really appreciate you sharing that from your heart as well. Next question. Can Celsius sustain interest rates if we enter the bear market, right? So a lot of people have been analyzing the market, and I've heard it from many friends like, whoa, man, Bitcoin is crashing, guys. There's a bear market coming in the end of the year. So what's going to happen if we enter the bear market? What can users expect? Excuse me.
Yeah, I could take this one.
Oh, sure, Zach. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We haven't heard from Zach in a while. Go ahead.
Sure. So what's made Celsius so powerful is that we've really diversified our business model. We're not just making this yield from retail loans, for example. We're also doing mining. We do a ton of institutional lending. We also are looking into new forms of business and then take advantage of DeFi opportunities as well. So this is like a 5-stooled horse now that is allowing the company to make revenue in all these different locations. So the market is always changing, right? And sometimes we have huge volatility, and that's great for our business model. The more volatility, the more we're able to charge institutions and arbitrageurs. So the more our community makes, and then in lower times of volatility, that's when we have to lower rates. There's not as much demand, and we diversify into other revenue making businesses. So this is being built as a 100-year company, and the reason why we've been able to maintain our rates so much higher than our competition is we're doing mining, we participate in DeFi, we're doing retail loans. We have this selection, right, of ways to earn this yield that we pay to users every Monday. And that's been the secret so far. So when we do come into the next bear market, which, could be this year, next year, 2 years, who knows? The company has so many different ways to generate this yield that we will be much less affected than our competition. And yeah, some assets will have to lower rates on, but that's also part of our sustainability and how we make sure we can always pay, something every week and not overpromise to our user base.
Right. Thanks for sharing, Zach. I'm because when I share about Celsius with others and who are not so familiar with the crypto space, they're always surprised. They're like 13% really for a stablecoin. Like, how do they get such high rates? And I usually explain that the model works on these the institutional lending and stuff like that. But then later on, I believe then Alex talked about the DeFi space and stuff like that. So that was what I was not so familiar with. Like, what are the revenue streams that Celsius actually has? So you've explained, I think DeFi is one of them, mining is one of them. And of course, institutional lending.
Retail loans.
Yeah. Retail loans. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And
So
then there's
all
a
of that
few more
combines together to fuel the interest. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah. And a good example is to see the flexibility of the market. Stablecoin rates are really high right now. And then the Bitcoin rate is around 6% or so. In the bear market, those two tend to swap because everyone wants to borrow Bitcoin to short it. Right. And then they don't need stable coins. So the stable coin rate will go down and then the Bitcoin rate will go up. So there's these kind of self-balancing mechanisms. But fortunately for us, there always tends to be people that want to borrow these assets to some degree. And that's where our users really benefit by holding the long term and earning this yield week after week after week.
Okay, and there might be times where we have to kind of react to the market real time, like Zach said, and drop our rates on, let's say, Bitcoin, right? Like, I think sometimes the community might think like, whoa, you guys are trying to keep money from us, etc. But not about us, but about like everyone that has a similar business model. But I think the truth of the matter is, at least from Celsius's perspective, we're actively managing rates almost on a daily basis to ensure that as a whole, we're making the best kind of risk management driven yield maximizing decisions, right? It's both. It's like, hey, how are we managing our risk and exposure and everything? But then by doing that, how can we still offer the best possible yields? And sometimes it'll lead to certain assets getting their rates lowered. Sometimes it'll lead to assets getting rates kind of increasing. But at the end of the day, like, I think our goal is to always have the best yields possible.
Right. Is the
overall
so curious question.
Sustainability.
Go ahead.
We just don't some of the strength of our business model is that we're not overpromising, right? We're not. You look at some of these competitors that have had the same rate on their assets for 1 or 2 years now, and you wonder, how is that possible if the market is changing every day? And so the part of Celsius's strength and sustainability is its flexibility to adjust rates as the market conditions change. And like Vijay was saying, sometimes that makes some people upset, but this is how we're able to ensure that we can provide from the community long term.
Right. Thanks for sharing. I was just curious, is the calculation and the of the interest rates and the yield and the risks and that, is that a proprietary thing for Celsius? How they calculate the interest rates that come out every week, how they calculate the risks management.
I don't know if it's a specific proprietary formula. I think it's more of like a way of doing business or a standard practice where we are looking from a sustainability and longevity perspective instead of a profit maximizing perspective, and saying, what should we do in order to make sure that we can pay everyone as much as we can, but we're also not taking unnecessary risks to the company in the long term.
If you think about it, we now have a chief risk officer, Rodney, who joins us from Morgan Stanley, right? Like one of the oldest players in the traditional space. And we're just going to keep tightening up our risk management, because like, as much as we just want to deploy our assets using those 3 or 4 methods, Ross, that you just listed with Zach, and get the highest yields at all time, right? Like, once you start to put those long-term sustainability filters on things, like, that's going to lead to a completely different deployment strategy. And guess what? In the short term, that's going to lead to potentially lower rates in terms of yield. However, if you were to look at this over like a longer period of time, and like, I love that our community is mostly hodlers and not just someone that's gaming the system, right? Over the long run, this is better for the community, and this is better for each individual consumer as well.
Yeah, I agree. And even the lowest rates on Celsius are higher than all the savings rates in Malaysia. So, why not put everything in Celsius, right?
And then you think about loans, right? So I'm from India. I grew up there until I was 20. My mom still lives there.
Right.
If you were to think about credit card interest rates or personal loans interest rates in India, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Right? Like
It is.
a credit card for someone that's trying to build their credit or fresh out of college is upwards of 30% a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Crazy.
And the way that minimum payments are structured means that if you're just making minimum payments, you could like be paying off like a small credit card debt for many, many years. Right? But we have 1% loans. Right? How are we
People
able
couldn't believe me when I told them, the loans are 1%. They're like, huh? How is that possible? Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So that's why I think like we focus so much on the yield part of it, but everyone needs to look at the entire picture, right? All the benefits that come together.
Yeah.
Because even if we do reduce yield rates, we're doing that so we can still sustain the 1% loan rates.
Exactly. Yeah. Thanks so much for sharing. Okay, we've got about 10 questions, so let me quickly move on before I get too caught up in one question at a time. Okay, number 4. Is Celsius considering a crypto credit card? Yes or no? What do you guys think? Are we going to be expecting one maybe this year?
More to come.
More to come
on here. I am not.
Do you have like a second screen with Alex watching you saying you can tell him this, you can't tell him this, don't say this.
Even if Alex were watching, I'd say the same thing. But I'm not a brave man like Alex is, and I'm not a visionary like he is.
Yeah.
We are actively working on a credit card.
Actively
program.
working on it. All right. That sounds good. I think the only problem that we have in Malaysia is that our regulators make it a little bit difficult for us to access things like crypto credit cards. But well, if Celsius establishes an Asian office, then perhaps we can start talking to regulators and getting it done. And so that's why we're looking, forward to things like this. But it's glad that I'm glad to hear the guys are working on it. Yeah,
the
definitely
card
for the
program
future.
will be launched this year. The only thing I have to say is it might be a market by market launch, where it's not like
understood.
To begin with. Like you said, Ross, the regulations are so different from country to country. And we're kind of attacking everything on parallel paths, right? Like, hey, how can we keep pushing for the quickest launch possible of the best credit card in the market?
Yeah.
But then on a parallel path, also figure out how can we make regulators comfortable in these countries where they're not.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing. Yeah. All right, next one. Back in September, Alex mentioned that less than 7% of Celsius's assets are in DeFi yield farming. Has that percentage changed? And could you break down where the rest of the assets are earning? Who would like to take that question? Zach?
Yeah, I don't have an exact number, but I think it's still in that same ballpark, probably 5 to 10%. And then on the others, I don't know off the top of my head. I don't think it's something we announced publicly, our exact asset dispersion. So for DeFi, I think it's about the same. We never take any more than a few points of the total portfolio into to one strategy, and then 10% into all of DeFi in total. So again, part of our risk model is to not put a bunch of assets into one strategy, but to put it out in a lot of different deployment methods.
Yep, understood. Yeah, the guy who asked this question, he's a big time DeFi yield farmer. So he puts it all over the place in every single kind of protocol you can imagine. And so he was wondering, whether or not, do you think Celsius will be in the future releasing like the breakdown exactly, like how much is here, how much is here, how much is here? Or do you think Celsius will keep that proprietary for business purposes?
Yeah, I don't think we'll get that granular because we don't want to give our competition, that kind of insider information. But I think we are right around 10% for our DeFi strategy.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, 5 to 10% sounds fair to me. I don't understand DeFi at all. I prefer CeFi. DeFi confuses me. And it's a funny story because when the Celsius token price was like stuck around $5, our community chat, they started chanting. Yeah, he's in the chat now. He started chanting the word, excuse my language, but shitcoin. He said shitcoin. And then suddenly the price jumped from $5 to $7. And everyone's like, oh my God, it works.
Oh,
everybody
of course.
It just literally like the whole community was just chanting, and then the price jumped and we all looked at it like, wow. And
just for some perspective, last summer, there was a similar time. It was about 2 months of CEL token being between 35 cents and 50 cents.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really interesting to see this same type of animosity or like frustration developed in some community members.
Yeah.
And then, at $4, no one was complaining about 40 cents, right? And so I think we kind of saw a similar behavior pattern this time where, it's between $4 and $5 for all these months, and then now there's not so much complaints.
Literally boom. Yeah. So someone's putting in the chat, people need to zoom out. A lot of them just look at 1 day, 1 week time frame, expect a constant pump. Yeah, I think that's the impatience that comes with the being in the world of crypto. Everybody expects $100 coin tomorrow, so that's obviously not going to happen, right?
Alex puts it great. He says, don't worry about the token, look at the growth of the company and the user base, and the token will take care of itself.
Absolutely.
As long as Celsius is growing, the token will do just fine.
I agree. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, that's great. Okay, next question, very important. When sell Tesla? Who needs a Lambo, right? Who needs a Lambo? Is this happening? Is it really happening? Is Celsius partnering with Tesla? Is that the mega deal?
We're reaching out to them.
Oh, okay.
And I'm actually, like I said, I'm a little bit more less of a visionary than Alex is. The way I think about it is crypto-backed loans, right, as a broader category, and then like within that, crypto-backed auto loans, crypto-backed home improvement loans, crypto-backed medical emergency loans, etc., like more special purposes. Like how consumers choose to use their loans is still like open to the consumers themselves or the consumers themselves, right? So even right now, if our community members want to get a Tesla, there's nothing preventing them from taking a 1% loan against their assets with us. There's nothing preventing our community members from using their monthly yield to pay off the installment loan on the car, the auto loan on the car, or the lease payment on the car.
Yeah.
Having said that, we are reaching out to Tesla actively. Conversations are being had actively by our partnerships and business development teams. And again, things like this take a little bit of time, right? Especially because if you think about it, Tesla is trying to get more Bitcoin in their reserves. And that's why they wants to buy with Bitcoin functionality, right? So something like, hey, buy with crypto loans or buy with crypto yields is a direct kind of cannibalization of buy with Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So
no, I agree.
You have two purchase models that are at two opposite ends of the spectrum. Conversations for a partnership take longer.
Yeah, understood. Yeah, but I look forward to it. I mean, if it happens, that'll be great, man. I would love to drive a Tesla. When I went to the US, that was the first time I saw a Tesla in the US. We don't have it often here in Malaysia. I think 1 or 2 people may have a car here in Malaysia, but man, that would be quite exciting. And I like what you mentioned, like specific kinds of loans. Right. So I think that'll be interesting because when I talk to people about Celsius and I say that, you can take a loan, the first question I get is, why do you want to take a loan? Right. The most people in Malaysia, we don't see the purpose of taking a loan other than maybe buying a house or a car, So, but I use it for trading. So, I think the more that people open up to the idea of having a low interest loan sort of a model of purchasing, like you mentioned, right? It's a completely different kind of purchasing model. And I think that will help people, explore more opportunity with loans. That'd be great. Anyway, next question. Any upcoming real world uses for the CEL token? Right. What do you guys think? Real world uses for the CEL token, other than currently everything that we use the CEL token for is mostly within the app. What do you guys think in the future of CEL token?
Yeah, I think the biggest development we saw was this deployment of the CEL token treasury to earn yield for the community. That was a very monumental step forward. And part of, again, the advantage of using Celsius is through the community.
Sorry, Zach, can I just interrupt for just a moment? Because there are some users here who are a little bit new. They may not have heard about the CEL token treasury. Maybe could you just give a brief introduction about what that is so the rest of us can understand? Yeah.
Sure. So when Celsius did their ICO back in 2017, 2018, they created 695 million tokens. They sold about half of them to start up the project, and then the other half are kept in the treasury and have really sat dormant up until just recently. And so now these 325 million, times the price has turned out to be a lot of money. And now that Celsius has grown, we've gotten a lot of reputation. We're able to deploy that treasury as collateral to earn yield for the community. So we basically were able to bootstrap this community, bootstrap this token, and now this token is becoming one of those yield drivers for our business model. And that's a monumental step forward because it allows Celsius, this large pool of capital, to borrow against to generate more revenue for the user base. So this is really fantastic. And as our token becomes more valuable, it allows us to generate more and more yield. And as CEL token becomes more accepted, it allows us to generate more and more yield. So that's really the largest update in the token utility in the last several months.
Right, understood. Yeah, thanks for sharing. And for those of you who are new members, if you want to find out more about what Zach is talking about, every Friday, Alex will be sharing about these kind of things on his AMA. And there's a lot of other YouTubers and other members that do recaps online, and we often share them within the group. But this one was pretty new, the whole CEL Treasury one. I thought that was pretty interesting as well, because it also shows that other people are valuing the CEL token. It's not just the Celsius community, that the CEL token has value outside of the community as well. I think that's important for users. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Next, I think we got two more questions to go, 3 more questions to go. Oh, someone named Alex just entered the Zoom chat. Could it be? Literally, and Alex just said Alex entering Zoom. Okay. I'll keep the mystery. Just, it could be Alex Mashinsky himself. Maybe, you don't know. Can you explain why the CEL price can suddenly jump up or jump down? Is the market being manipulated? Chang. Yeah, because recently the price has been jumping up, and oftentimes you'll see it suddenly just drop a little bit. And so what do you think is causing the price to move so much up and down, so much volatility all of a sudden, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's still a relatively small market, right? Like, considering all markets, or even compared to Bitcoin, right? It's maybe 1%, if not less than Bitcoin. So smaller markets tend to be a lot more volatile. And no, there's not manipulation going on. It's just there's more buyers and sellers at certain times, or sellers run out of coins to sell. And so buyers take over. It's just simple market dynamics, really. And yeah, the company is always buying back CEL token in order to pay rewards. Almost 60% of our users choose to get paid in CEL token every Monday, and the company has to buy that back. So that's on the buy pressure side, and then the sellers do what they're going to do, and that causes that volatility.
Someone was asking a question in the chat. Is there still a significant amount of sell pressure from the ICO users or ICO sellers?
Every now and then, you'll see one come out of hibernation. But I think in the last several months, what caused it was not necessarily ICO investors, but just early adopters that bought, at below 5 cents. Some of them were offloading their bags, and that was just a process that worked out for the last few months, and then the buy pressure took over, and that's why we saw this most recent leg up.
It jumped up, yeah. So for those of you who are new to the market, basically Celsius buys back tokens because they have to pay our rewards every Monday. So I, for example, I choose to earn in CEL tokens. I think many of our users as well. And if you're earning in CEL tokens, that means Celsius has to buy back these tokens. And I don't know many platforms that buy back their own tokens like in this fashion.
Right.
And so that's one of the things that I found quite interesting about the Celsius model. And then what someone was asking in the group chat for the rest of you as well. The ICO sellers refers to people who bought Celsius tokens when it was just like 4 cents or something along those lines, when it was really cheap and they want to realize their profits. So, someone commented in the chat, you hear guys, if you want to increase buy pressure, we should choose to earn yield in CEL. Well, that's completely up to you, Ian, if you want to. I like the CEL token, so I earn yield in CEL. Again, I always tell my users that, it's really up to you if you want to. But I encourage it because I think CEL token is great. I'm looking forward to more and more use cases of it as well. Let's see, a few more questions. Can you explain the Celsius's business model in layman terms? Right. So I had this challenge sometimes because when I do my community outreach, I sometimes because Celsius covers so many things, it's hard to give it a one sentence definition. Like, what is Celsius? And every time I explain it, everybody goes away saying, oh, so it's a bank, right? I'm like, no, it's not a bank exactly, but kind of. How do you guys tackle this problem? How do you explain the whole model of Celsius in layman terms?
Zach, before you take this, Ross, I can tell you that whichever community member can actually come up with that perfect description for us, that I can give my mom and she understands it without me having to like get paper and sketch out the business model. I'm gonna hire a community member to be
okay. We'll work on it. We'll work on it.
But Zach, do you want to take this?
Yeah, I'll try my best here. I would say the shortest way to put it is Celsius lends out your assets at interest to earn yield, and borrow and allows you to borrow funds against your assets at very low rates, and returns up to 80% of its revenue back to its members.
Yeah. So for those of you listening, I hope you got that. If not, keep joining my Friday night
but
talks.
You're right, Vijay. You're right. That's a tough to give a one sentence is a tough one.
It's tough.
And it's not just Celsius, right? It's like
crypto in general is tough.
Crypto.
Yeah.
Right. Like I always am like, okay, my mom is 67 years old. My son is 8 years old. My daughter's 3. Can I explain things to my mom and to my son?
Oh,
right? Like
okay.
That's always my
benchmark.
And you know what? This is a challenging space and a challenging business model to explain. So what I always steer towards is just like the benefit, right? It's like, hey, this is a business or a platform that helps you kind of participate in the growth of your underlying crypto assets, right? But just because everyone's got a life, everyone needs passive incomes, always just saving is not possible. We're a company that try to give back like passive income on a weekly basis through the yields paid out. And again, just because life happens and you might need to liquidate your assets, instead of liquidating your assets, you can take out a loan at the lowest interest rates possible and maintain your positions in the underlying assets.
Yeah. Very eloquently put. Community members, if you guys understand, great. If you don't understand, you can ask me questions and I'll be happy to explain it in more simpler terms if possible. All right, last question, I think, or last 2 questions, I think. How is the weekly interest calculated in layman's terms? So I have a lot of this question I get the most. I think this is one of the most popular questions I often get as a community lead, is because people find the interest rate calculation a bit confusing. So from what I understand, it's every Friday. Celsius takes a snapshot of the assets in the wallet, right? And then they get the interest rates for that week and they apply it to that snapshot on Friday. And then they calculate it from Friday to Friday and they pay out on the Monday. Am I getting that right? Is there an easier way that I can use to explain this to a layman user?
No, that's accurate. It's you don't get with.
If you want a marketing job, let me know.
I try my best. Okay, I think the confusion here is that because some users try to calculate the interest on their own and they come up with a different number from the Celsius interest that they get paid out. And they're always asking me like, Ross, how is it calculated? And I honestly tell them that I wouldn't be able to calculate it because you need to take that snapshot on Friday when the asset was that market price, right? I'm assuming you get the market price on Friday. And then, so I think it's a bit confusing. Maybe you can share in your own words how it's exactly calculated.
Yeah, I always calculate it in kind in the asset itself. So if I look at my Bitcoin balance, I take how many sats I have and then multiply that by the interest rate. So let's say 5%. And then I divide that by 52 because it's, 1/52 of that interest rate.
Right.
And that gives me a very accurate number of what my next payment will be.
Okay. And if a person were to put in their Bitcoin, let's say in between that week, so instead of a Friday to Friday, they put it only in on like 5 days out of the 7. What happens? Is the interest prorated to 5 days?
Yes. Yeah. So once your Bitcoin hits the app, that's when you start earning. So you'll get a partial payment that first week. Let's say you put it in on Wednesday, right?
Yep.
You'll get paid for Wednesday, Thursday, and then that will come out on Friday, or you'll get that on Monday, and then Friday we'll start a new week. Friday, Saturday,
Right.
Sunday, all the way up until the next Thursday. So we calculate from Friday to Thursday.
Oh, Friday to Thursday.
These
Right.
rewards.
Right. Yeah, I was curious, is there a particular reason why it's Friday to Thursday and not like a Monday to Sunday? Is there a specific reason behind that?
I think it's just to give us a couple days to organize everything, make sure everything's correct before we release those funds to users. So we don't want to have no time between when we calculate and when we send out rewards. So we just kind of give those 2 or 3 days in order to give us a buffer, make sure everything's kosher.
Right. Okay, great. Sounds great. I think that's, that was the last question. Actually, no, I had one more question coming in that I wanted to, but this one I'm going to have to type it out. Hold on. Just give me 1 second to get this on the screen. And the question I think was, just type it out. What is the mega deal?
VJ.
Yeah, because the community members have been pushing me. They're like, Ross, come on, you gotta ask them, you gotta ask them, you gotta ask them. I'm like, I'm gonna ask them, but whether the answer is completely up to them. So it's the ball is in your court, guys. Do you want to give us some? If you can't give us the full details, maybe a few hints here and there, just like PayPal, and like.
That Alex is sometimes like, Alex, every week on the AMA, he asks the AMA code, it's the mega deal that you're working on, right? And it's his way of pushing us as well.
Yeah.
Man, I should be in politics. I'm going to try to hedge my answer a little bit.
Sure. No worries. Yeah.
So mega deals take on different forms and different sizes. There are many such mega deals in the pipeline. One mega deal that you're going to hear about that I can personally kind of commit to is that within the next 4 to 6 weeks, you're going to hear about a mega deal with a massive media platform.
A media platform?
A media platform.
Right.
This is something that the marketing team is partnering on with our business development and partnerships team.
Mm-hmm.
And this partnership is going to enable us to get the word out while getting the best possible deal on marketing spend.
Right.
And I think for the community, the benefit is, well, more and more consumers in North America especially are going to hear about Celsius, are going to hear about crypto. Alex is going to get a chance to go out and on a weekly basis educate the broader consumer base about crypto, etc. And the more new users we have coming into the community, the existing community benefits, right? And by the way, we're not just blindly throwing marketing dollars at media. Like through partnerships like this, we're going to effectively get the word out, but not spend very much money at all. And it's a brilliant model. Like I said, mega deals take on different forms. This is like a media or marketing related mega deal that I'm confident we're delivering. And then again, clearly there are going to be exchange listings. There was one that was supposed to be today. Is it a mega deal?
Yes.
I think of it as a mega deal.
Okay.
But again,
I was going to ask John that question because I think Alex kept hinting it's going to. I don't know. We heard from the grapevine that it's going to be an Asian-based platform, and since John's from the Philippines, John, you want to give us a little hint? which big exchange is Celsius about to launch?
John's signal is cutting out.
No, I can say no. He just unmuted himself. He literally unmuted himself just to answer this question. So, John, take it away, John. The whole of Malaysia is listening to you right now, literally.
Actually, I don't have a clue right now.
Oh,
so let's just wait.
Secret,
let's just wait.
It is, again, to be totally transparent. It's delayed by a few days because of certain last minute details at the exchanges side that have to be ironed out.
Yeah.
But it's by a few days. It's not by a few weeks even. But that to me is a mega deal, right? And then there are other bigger deals that are in the works with like when we do launch the credit card, like it's going to take like some kind of a partnership with like a giant global company to pull that off.
Oh, a
Right?
giant
Whether it's
global company. All right. Well, not
right,
many
like
of
again,
those in the
if
world.
you were
I
to think,
wonder.
if you were to think about the two biggest credit card processors in the world, it's Visa and
Mhm.
Mastercard.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So
Okay.
we do have to partner with one of those companies uh, to get a good credit card program out, especially one that we feel confident about that can be the best for consumers, right?
Right.
Like, trust me,
I look forward to it. Yeah.
yeah, I spent 16 years in credit card industry, and I can tell you that what we're designing is gonna blow everything out of the water.
Wow. Oh,
Yeah.
Vijay, when you make comments like that, my community is gonna come after me. What did he say? Blow everything out of the water? Did he really say that? I'm like, he really said that. I'm like,
No, so if me, who's again, I'm sure you've gathered that by now, even
yeah,
during this 1 hour Zoom,
yeah.
I'm pretty conservative about a lot of things, and I
Mm-hmm.
hedge what I say, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to things like the credit card program or our loans, I can tell you that what we have is amazing,
All right.
right? So consumer friendly. It's designed in the best interest of every community member.
Mm.
Um, and I just feel really good about them.
That's great. That's great. So Malaysians who are listening, I hope you guys take back a lot of knowledge from this session. And once again, I would like to say a big thank you to all our three guests, Zach, John, and Vijay. Let's give them a virtual round of applause. Thank you, guys. We really appreciate you guys coming out and spending your time with us. I'm pretty sure that all our community members are really happy to hear from you guys. And everybody's raising their hands and waving inside inside Zoom. But yeah, thank you so much for taking the time. Really appreciate this. And I think just listening to you guys share from Celsius itself directly encourages many of the members, right? And turns our paper hands into diamond hands. And that's what we're looking forward to. We want to build a diamond hand strong community in Malaysia for Celsius. And, I will do everything I can to continue to grow the community and to continue to spread the good word and to do well for the community. And everybody's saying thank you in the group chat as well. So I think without further ado, I'm going to release our special guest. Thank you so much, guys, each and every one of you. Really appreciate your time. Bye-bye. Take care and have a great...
Thank you, Ross.
thank
Appreciate
you
it.
very much. Yeah, thank you,
Thank
guys.
you, guys.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks,
Thank
Rose.
All right. Okay, for the other Malaysians who are in the group chat, I'm going to remain here for a while. I just want to check any of you in the group chat. Who are you? Are first-time Celsius users? Are there any first-time Celsius users in our group chat? If so, I will be going through some slides maybe to explain Celsius a little bit more. Okay, so we got Ron. Ron is first-time. Anybody else? First-time users in Celsius? If you're a first-time user in Celsius, could you just comment inside the group chat? If you are already familiar with Celsius or if you already attended my Celsius introduction talks before, then you can leave this session. You're not in the group chat yet. Okay, Ron, I'll get you added to the group chat yet. So if there are any new members, anyone else? I think everybody else here is already in Celsius, right? Let me see, look through the name list. There's an Alex here. I thought it was Alex Mashinsky. Okay, there's Alex, Ron, Aihun, Elvin C, Andrew, Andrew Casimir, Benjamin, Brian, Chester, Choi, CM, CU, Ian, Insignia, Jia Seong, JJ, Joe, JQ, Manfred, Muxter, Steph, Yilin, Zawi. Okay, so most of you, I recognize your names. You're already Celsius users. You've already attended my sessions. You guys can actually leave the group chat. I don't have anything else specifically that I'm going to share for today. That's for you guys. But if you're a new user and you want me to I'll just briefly run through the platform and explain it again for any of our new users. I know Ron is new. Anybody else is new? All right. All right. Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much. Sorry, Ron. I forgot to mention to you earlier today was a bit special because we got our guest speakers to come in. But I can just briefly go through the